Hi, welcome. My name is Audrey and I go by Bay Area Housewife. I am a former paralegal turned housewife who loves true crime. Thank you for finding me. I'm so glad so many people love true crime as much as I do. So here it goes. Hello, friends, and welcome to Bay Area Housewife of True Crime. So today I'm going to be covering the Maura Murray case. Maura Murray disappeared on February 9, 2004. She was 21 years old. She was from Massachusetts. Every podcast and true crime documentary about this case reminds me of the Michaela Noguera accent. So think about that. I always think about that when I see the podcasts and documentaries. My heart truly goes out to her sister. Every time I see her videos on my FYP, my heart breaks. So at the time of her disappearance, she was attending the University of Massachusetts Amherst studying nursing. However, prior to this, she went to the United States Military Academy West Point in New York. Apparently, she studied chemical engineering for 3 semesters before deciding it wasn't a good fit for her. So weird things that happened leading up to her disappearance. 3 months before her disappearance, she was caught using stolen credit card to order food from restaurants. Sorry. This charge was continued to be dismissed after 3 months of good behavior. 4 days before her disappearance, she spoke to her sister Kathleen and vented about her relationship issues with her fiance. That same night, she was working as a security guard at her school when her boss found her crying about her sister. She was also so distraught that her boss escorted her back to her dorm room around 1 a.m. Apparently, the reason that she was crying about her sister was because during the phone call that night, her sister told her that her fiance had picked her up from rehab and took her straight to a liquor store, which caused her to relapse. 2 days before her disappearance, her dad Fred arrived on campus and took her car shopping. Maura dropped him off at his hotel and borrowed his car because she wanted to go to a party. One day before she disappeared at 3:30 a.m., she crashed into a guardrail on the freeway on her way to return her dad's car to him. This resulted in a ticket, and there is no evidence of a field sobriety test being conducted. That night, the officer dropped her off at the hotel where her dad was staying. The same morning at 4:49 a.m., there was a call placed to her fiance from her dad's phone. Who and what was said during that call remains unknown. Her dad dropped her off campus and started heading home after that night. And that night, he called her to remind her that she needed to get some accident forms from the DMV. They agreed to talk again the next day, Monday, on the date that she disappeared, to fill out the insurance claim forms. Okay, so now we're on the day of her disappearance. So after midnight, she printed out MapQuest directions to Burlington, Vermont. Who remembers MapQuest directions? Like, we literally had to print out directions to get somewhere. Like, there was no Google Maps. Like, explaining that to my daughter is gonna be so fun. Anyways, at 1 p.m., she texted her fiance, "I love you more, stud. I got your messages, but honestly, I didn't feel like talking too much of anyone. I promised to call today, though. Love, Maura." And no, that's not a typo. She said, "I didn't feel like talking too much of anyone." She inquired about renting a condo in Barley, New Hampshire. At 1:13 p.m., she called a fellow nursing student for reasons unknown. At 1:24 p.m., she emailed her work and teacher stating that she was going to be out for a week due to a death in the family, which we now know is not true. In those emails, she also stated she would get in contact with them upon her return. At 2:05 p.m., she called to inquire about a hotel in Stowey, Vermont. At 2:18 p.m., she left her fiance a voicemail. Maura packed clothes, toiletries, textbooks, and birth control in her car. I don't know why they needed to mention that she packed birth control. I think that's a little bit sexist, but okay. Maybe they were trying to, you know, cross off all the boxes, letting everybody know like what she took. But okay, before leaving her dorm, she packed most of her belongings in boxes and removed the art from the walls. It was noticed that on top of the boxes, there was a printed out email to her fiance. At 3:30 p.m., she drove off campus in her 1996 Saturn. At 3:15 p.m., she practically drained her account when withdrawing $280 from an ATM. At 3:43 p.m., she went to a liquor store and purchased $40 worth of booze, including Bailey's, Kahlua, vodka, and box wine. At some point, she picked up the forms from the DMV. At 4:47 p.m., she called to check her voicemail. At 7:47 p.m., the car accident was reported to the Woodsville, New Hampshire Police Department. It was along Route 112. At 7:43 p.m., a school bus driver called the police and said he saw Maura and asked if she needed help. She declined and said she was calling roadside assistance. At 7:43 p.m., police arrived at the scene. The Haverhill police officer reported that there was no one inside of Maura's car. The officer reported that Maura's car had hit a tree on the driver's side of the vehicle. The airbags were deployed and the car was locked. Inside of the car were red wine stains, an empty beer bottle, box wine, a AAA card, DMV forms, gloves, compact disc, makeup, jewelry, printed MapQuest directions, her favorite stuffed animal, and books. Maura's credit cards and phone were missing. At 8 p.m., EMS and fire truck arrived at the scene. At 8:49 p.m., Maura's car was towed. At 9:30 p.m., the responding officers left the scene. Despite search efforts, including scent dogs, ground searches, Maura has not been found. As of 2009, the case is considered a cold case in the New Hampshire Police Department. Okay, so now we're going to talk about my theories, my opinions. These are not facts. This is just my personal opinion. So based on the aforementioned, I believe Maura Murray ran away unless she figured out how to live off the grid, is part of the witness protection program, was abducted by aliens, or met with foul play. I think that because of her previous issues with the law, her school, her work, her fiance, her family, she panicked, fled the scene. From what I gathered, she was under the influence of alcohol. I have so many questions. So why did she decide to switch schools? Why did she need a new car? Why do some sources call her fiance her boyfriend? Some call her fiance. A documentary I watched on Peacock called The Disappearance of Maura Murray with Maggie Frelling also stated that she was caught shoplifting before running away. I think that's why she was almost expelled from her previous school. And I also saw that they dug into the Red Barn theory with no avail. There's also the theory of her unaliving herself. Sources reported that her sister saying that the place that she printed out MapQuest directions from was a place that her family went to. So could she have possibly gone out there to reminisce and, herself? Sources say that area has been searched, but the woods are a scary place. What are your thoughts, questions, concerns, theories? I can't wait. I can't believe we made it to the end. So as always, I accept and respect your opinions. If you'd like a copy of my references, please email yayareahousewife@gmail.com and I'd be happy to send you my notes. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.